Not a cheating spirit in the building.
In the door and ain't cheating.
Not a cheating spirit in the building. Let's get to it, man. Welcome to the Dear Son Show. We have meaningful conversations about life through the lens of fatherhood. It's for fathers, those with fathers, and the fatherless, so nobody's left out. These are the conversations we want our sons to access as they grow through life into manhood, so no topics are off limits. I'm one of your hosts, D. Johns.
I'm your other host, Jay Blac.
In the building.
In the
How you feeling, my brother?
Amazing. I like it. That pace allows us to be more interactive in real time.
Yeah.
I'm still feeling amazing about who won that old Superbowl, if I have to be honest.
True indeed.
How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Super Bowl, it was a fun game to watch. It wasn't a good game, but it was a fun game to watch because I was rooting for. I don't know if I was rooting for the Eagles or rooting against the Chiefs, which is somewhat corny.
I get that.
Like, how you want to be great? How y'all going to three-peat? But anyhow, they did that. I definitely wanted to see the Eagles versus the Bills, as I mentioned before, because my partner coaches for the Bills. And it seemed like that would have been a more competitive game.
So it does.
Yeah. But in hindsight, we can always say what would have happened, should have happened. But
or Tampa. We really want to see some action.
Yeah. So the Dear Son Show. I don't know. Y'all got further than us, so I can't really say too much. We clean the house. Them boys. Them boys be back, man. Next year's our year.
Don't do this.
Every year.
No, sir.
Every year.
No.
But now the pace is good, man. We got I can say it now, 3 shows dropping a week.
Yes, sir.
The interaction that you mentioned a couple pods back with Joe T is more permanent than not.
Yeah.
It's gonna be more consistent.
Yeah.
So we got a few episodes shot. We're shooting weekly, and that series is gonna release this week on Wednesday. So like, share, and subscribe to make it easy. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Central, drop days.
That way you ain't got to worry about trying to keep up or miss something.
Turn it on.
Yeah, just turn it on and it'll do the rest.
Turn it on. And you might start to see some sprinkles in there on other days, because at the time of this recording on Tuesday, me and Joe T going live.
Oh, come
on. I didn't know on YouTube you can go live like you do on IG. So you can go live with another YouTuber. I didn't know that. And maybe it's just features for certain people, but he had the feature.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be featured.
Run that.
We're getting up on there.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be again Tuesday at the time of this recording. But let's not belabor it. We've been doing good, getting right into the topics. And today we're talking about gentle parenting versus PAP. And PAP is a phrase that my partner coined. We probably need to look into that. Actually getting it coined for real on some legal.
Yeah.
But punk A parenting came up in conversation a couple pods ago. Well, actually, the last couple of Friday pods has been a consistent theme.
Yes.
So we stand on theme today. Are you a gentle parent or are you a punk A parent? Direct question to you.
Oh, neither.
Okay.
I'm neither, actually.
Okay.
If I had to choose one, I have moments of both. You know, I'm not going to act like, I'm not part of the problem that we said we have in this identity, our parenting identity that we're suffering from right now. But I would honestly say it's a fine line. It really is.
Is it?
I think it's.
We're gonna find out in conversation.
I think it's a fine line.
Okay.
When you saw we were going to be talking about it, did you look at it as a opportunity to try to distinguish between the two, or you tried to see, am I one of those?
So, as I almost let on before we hit record, I started thinking, isn't one restating the other? But no. No, and I almost led into my thoughts. But I initially, first glance, when it hit the bank, I was like, maybe it was misworded.
Right.
But now, actually pulling the thread on punk A parenting in context of our last couple conversations where we were talking about what adult children living at home, and teen privacy.
Right.
I see that there's a difference. And again, we get into our journalism bag. We want to make sure we add more value than opinion on this show.
I'm gonna give you the facts.
Yeah. So gentle, according to Oxford, means having or showing a mild, kind, or tender temperament or character. Now I like mob movies. And, old school gangster movies.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Well, I like some urban stuff. I like urban stuff too, but when you think about the Godfather and things like that, like, not condoning the activity, but if you just look at it for art's sake
Hmm.
and the character of the mob boss,
Right.
wasn't a whole lot of yelling and screaming.
No. No.
Very gentle and mild. He'll off you or get you off,
Correct.
sing you to your maker, but gentle.
Correct.
So when I think about it in that context, gentle and punk are not synonymous.
No.
So when you add the parenting piece to it, gentle parenting and punk a parenting,
Hmm.
in my mind, are not synonymous.
Hmm.
What's your thoughts?
I agree. And to me, the brick wall, if you will, is gentle parenting has boundaries. Not doing all that yelling, jumping up and down and screaming. I'm not trying to put the chokehold on you every chance I get. There are boundaries. I just make sure calmly that you understand those boundaries, and equally you understand consequence and repercussion comes with violating those boundaries.
Yeah.
Whereas punk A parenting is do what you want, do what you like.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm an enabler. You like it, I love it. You want to do it, I'm gonna let you do it. That's not gentle parenting. That's opening the door, setting them up for failure is what you're doing. So that's the difference between, in my opinion, they're absolutely polar opposite if you're looking at the benefit
Yeah.
of you parenting this child. Because punk A parenting, you their friend. You're trying to be the homeboy all the
Yeah.
time.
I would even suggest that punk A parenting has a spectrum because you can be all friend or you could be the type of parent that says one thing but doesn't enforce it.
Oh, that's worse.
So it's not that we don't have boundaries. I just don't care if you run through them.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
there's not having boundaries, and then there's having boundaries that aren't enforced. I think that's kind of the pendulum swing or the
Mhm.
shift on the punk A parenting. So I came across this quote on IG, and I wanna say it kind of not influenced, but it was an interesting thing, and we never really discussed it. I sent it to you, but we haven't discussed it.
Right.
But it's on brand for this conversation. And the quote is: "Gentle parenting isn't soft. It's hard work. Staying calm, setting limits, and teaching emotional regulation takes more effort than yelling ever will." And this was from the Tired Dad on IG.
Listening to that, I see where the conflict would come in, because a person who wouldn't align with that statement, how respectable it is, a person who would not align with it would be someone that would disguise a lack of control of their emotions as being a passionate person.
Yeah.
I'm passionate.
Mm.
You know, I got passion and I have too much fire in me, and I care so much about how my kids turn out and the mistakes that they make that I can't hold it in. Be careful with that, because now more and more studies are actually showing that they're tracing human behavior to your parenting style. Meaning, it is now being said a child that you're having issues with them lying a lot is perhaps you acted too harshly about a mistake that they made. So now they're so fearful of your reaction or the consequence you're going to inflict that self-preservation kicks in to a point where I got to lie about anything that I even think
Mm-hmm.
doesn't align with your expectation. So because I'm now trying to lie my way out of it because of what you're doing or saying, it's equally aligning, if you will, with what you just read in that passage.
Mm-hmm.
The discipline and self-awareness and control it takes, though this thing that my child just did just frustrated me beyond who I can be, the amount of control it takes for me to say my approach must be
Mm-hmm.
focused and intentional.
Definitely easier said than done. And as you were saying that, I'm thinking through, like, where does it stem from?
Mm-hmm.
Because we talk a lot about how we're trying to rear our children or raise our children, whatever you're comfortable with, and where it aligns, where it's similar, where it contrasts how we were raised, right?
Yes.
And then we talk about what we knew of our parents and their situation, our fathers in particular, because that's oftentimes the model of how we act as men when they're available and present to any degree in our lives. The theme for me seems to be like how we handle conflict resolution, or how we handle conflict. What is our resolution plan for coming into conflict? Because I think that we don't see conflict with our children or as children with parents as healthy.
Yes.
We see it as how dare you as the parent, and then as a fear for the child. Like you were just saying, they had an experience where it wasn't positive for them, so now they try to avoid having that experience again by lying or withholding information. And that's something that we, that's an individual thing. I know I've matured as a parent because I was from the school of how dare you feel that way
Right.
early on.
Right. Right.
Like, well, with all this I'm providing you, with all, all the benefits, all the blessings you got, this life that you have, how dare you have a problem with this life? People have a problem with life every day. Every day. And children are no different. So I think that's a big part of it, is how you see conflict or how you see friction.
Agreed.
If you see it as an unhealthy thing, you either try to avoid it, or you try to be louder than it, or harder than it, heavier than it, more forceful than it to get through it.
Yes, Lord. Yep. Even with that, let's focus on another aspect of that. Staying on that note, often we sweep everything into a bag or under the rug together.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, now, once they put a name on something, it seems our society wants to act like it's brand new or reinvented. Gentle parenting, because it became a term, people think that just came out of nowhere. There are people, as far back as you can go, that was the parenting style they were exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
They had laid back parents, stern perhaps in their own right, but gentle to the point of, I don't have to go get something or grab you up. I mean what I said. I said this. I dare you to do something opposite. Some would argue that's not gentle parenting. Again, we could do this all day about what your definition is. However, for us to think that just because it's now becoming a talking point,
Yeah.
they think that it's brand new, when actually it's not. Because my question to you would be, and again, this ain't to put you on the spot, but we jump off like this spontaneously.
I'm here for it.
What would be the opposite of gentle parenting? Would one say the opposite of gentle parenting by today's definition is traditional parenting? Which is what sparked that thought to me, because perhaps my traditional parenting was something that would be called today gentle parenting. So what would be the term or the definition of the opposite of gentle parenting for those that, I'm dead set against gentle parenting? Well, what do you call the type of parenting that you do if you're dead set against what's termed as gentle parenting?
I think that's going to be specific to each person, because traditions can be family based.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to be society based.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about different, like even in religions or even sports, anything like that, like it's things become traditions within, like it becomes a subgroup, a subcategory of a demographic.
Yes.
So for me, the tradition of my parents may be different than the tradition of somebody else. So for me to say that as a sweeping statement, it's the opposite, I can't say that. But even in terms of, like, the last thing you said, saying what you mean and meaning what you say, and your children being aware of that, that was more my dad.
Yes.
And I got whippings, but it wasn't, I never didn't understand my actions that led up to that.
Right. Right.
I actually was calculating my actions to figure out if, like, is this really worth it? 10 times out of 9, I was on the side of, we're gonna run it. We're gonna figure it out. Let the chips fall where they may.
Yes, sir.
But it was, gentle doesn't mean a lack of discipline.
No.
And it's not even an argument in terms of what's the appropriate discipline type. But like I said, my father was clear. I had the information and plenty of opportunity to not land in a situation that required physical discipline.
Yes.
I just preferred the game of, am I going to get a whipping or not, which sounds stupid in hindsight. And that's typically where we get our revelations in hindsight.
Yeah.
We don't get it as the 10 to 12-year-old going through it and being defiant. So I would say in my specific case, my parents were gentle because I wasn't punished for things that I was unaware of, which conversely for me shifting to the other side of moving away from physical punishment, I didn't communicate enough to set expectations for my children, specifically my son.
Right.
Like the girls, they, you look at them and they cry. They just weren't well, my oldest, I keep saying that, but that was later in life. She didn't grow up like, I can see it in her eyes. She's going to be that one.
Right.
When she hit 16, some was like,
let's see how
but
this
also, you said no, also yes.
Yes.
Also yes for my life.
Run it.
So it's communication has a lot to do with it. I think the measure is, what is your motivation for punishing your child? We talked about that before.
We did.
If you enjoy punishing, whatever it was.
If you enjoy punishing your children, seek help.
Yeah, get help today.
Yeah.
1-800 help me Lord, or whatever it was.
Right.
But that's a very real thing. So I, in my situation, it wasn't the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
What I tried to create was the opposite, but I lacked the actual communication and disciplining them on a regular basis, like a consistent discipline that maybe was on par, not maybe, that was on par with the infraction,
Mm-hmm.
but escalated over time.
Yes.
I let things go till I'm ready, my top about to pop. And now I'm off the hinges, and it's not a good situation. What's the story for you in that context?
Me personally, I same. I feel, like I said, I'm at any given moment, I feel like I dabble into PAP. I've had PAP moments. I've had gentle parenting moments. I've had blow off the handle moments, whatever that's called. And personally blamed it on I'm passionate.
Yeah.
I'm just a heated, passionate person. I am, but that's not a pass. You know what I mean? Like, you're still responsible for your actions. You're still responsible for your reactions. And these little human beings are paying attention, and you can't pop off on them their entire childhood. And then when they become adults or young adults in school, you're at school fighting. You're at school popping off. You're at school threatening people and telling them what they better not do. Your child at the at the daycare on the verge of being exiled from the daycare, and you frustrated and angry with the child, and I'm gonna do something to you when we get home. I'm gonna do something to you when we get home. And when they get to school, they're gonna do something to somebody else. It's a cycle. That's all we trying to point out here, is pay attention to the cycle. I'm teaching my children to be enraged human beings, that when something rubs you the wrong way, let them have it. Show them you not to be played with. You don't have to always physically show people or society that you're not to be played with. There's a better way. And the message still will be conveyed. Hence, gentle parenting. I'd like to say, have a boundary. Do not make that boundary flexible. A boundary is a boundary.
Yeah.
That is where this generation of children, that's what they're lacking. And that's when you cross into the PAP. When your boundary is set at 5, and once that kid reaches 5, you push your boundary to 6, and they reach 6, you push your boundary to 8, you may as well erase the boundary altogether.
Yeah.
Because now you're a PAP. You're a punk A parent that's letting the child dictate to you the lessons in life that they need, and then you're not giving them the lesson. You're asking them, what should I do now, kid? That's what that comes across as. How dare you, as the parent, ask your child,
Wow.
what rearing do you need now, son? Now what you need to learn in life? What should I say that fits into your comfort zone so that you can now feel like you're fulfilled and you've been parented? How dare you? Who are you?
Where do you draw the line at negotiating with your children?
Yes. Yes. Where's the line?
It is almost comical to see some families out in public, in the store or what have you, and the child is defiant. And mentioned before how my children react when they see that. They look at me like, we ain't on that.
Mm-mm.
But it really is mind blowing to see how how far, and maybe these families call it, open communication, or we're talking through our challenges,
Mm-hmm.
but it's openly defiant children telling their parents what they will and won't do. And you see the parent in real time negotiating with them.
Negotiation.
Well, what do you think that means, buddy? Well, do you think you're going to be able to go outside with that attitude? And this is not even race specific.
No,
because
no.
I've seen it with us where should I?
Yeah, yeah.
I just won't generalize it. I've seen instances in both where the negotiation is quiet and civil, but still there's a the child is being defiant. And then I've seen where they're getting cussed out because they're being defiant. I don't know which one works. What blows my mind is neither one is actually handling the child or the issue.
No.
I guess it's the temperament and the reaction to the situation. But have you seen it?
Have I?
I don't think I'm bugging.
Have I? Yes. Yes. Times 10. And not to interrupt you, in restaurants, and the waiter, the server, the waitress, whatever your term is for this human being, they're standing there, they're trying to do their job. They juggling 5 tables. And you have this adult standing here for 15 minutes because you're asking this 4-year-old, so what is it that you want off the menu, 4-year-old? And what do you want on that? And what do you want them to remove from that? And you actually have this person standing here. You're teaching this child, this 4-year-old child, the world is hanging on every whim, and we can't move forward until you've made a decision that's affecting all these adults. You understand?
Well,
the irony.
Well, pay you back an interruption. Because living overseas, when I saw that, my mind was blown, but I thought about like how these people turn out. Children that were allowed to ask why,
Mm-hmm.
or explore,
Mm-hmm.
or like control. Another guest said he was allowed to fail in controlled environments. Like those are the thinkers. Those are the ones that believe anything is possible. The rest of us are employees.
Correct.
So go ahead.
Here's the change. Notice the portion of it that's wrong. You have everybody waiting on the 4-year-old. This conversation is to be had before the server gets to the table. If the server comes to the table, have the boundary to say, we're not ready yet. Could you come back?
Okay.
Or pull the trigger and make a decision. I'm not saying undercut that child's ability to communicate.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is, if the server asks, are you ready to place your order?
We're not.
We're not.
Gotcha.
It's simple as that. Release this human being to go do whatever else they have to do. Not that they're a servant, like you're releasing them, but you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit here and create the narrative that, yep, you have time for people to stand here and wait on you to think through it. And no, little kid. Go ahead. We'll talk through it some more. Like, hit the door running. Come in. Don't let them, whatever. I'm not going to teach you how to parent.
Yeah.
But that conversation should already be taking place once y'all sit down and they have the little kid menu right there. Yeah. Circle the oranges and get the cheese sandwich, man. If that's what you're going to do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's wrong. The wrong part is, how dare you have these adults that this is not my child. Why I'm waiting on this 4-year-old to pick his food. That's weird.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Where sometimes that can go, if not managed properly, is the other way is you start to rush the child. You still don't release the weight of it. Like, it's like you're putting so much pressure on the child to figure out if they want the grilled cheese or the noodles.
Right.
Then now they can't, like that carries through life in terms of the amount of angst or anxiety that they have when they're faced with making a decision. And if you started when they're young, I think I know some adults where that had to be the case. Where you still can't decide if you want the nuggets with the fries or with the broccoli, and you 48. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
That's kind of where that stems from. My grandmother, God rest her soul, both of them. My mom's mom specifically, at a young age, I used to be annoyed with how persistent she was trying to teach me to be.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take no for an answer. And it's not necessarily be defiant, but make these people prove it.
Yes.
Like she in context, she worked in the grocery store. So if something wasn't on the shelf and you asked a representative in the store, hey, do you have any more of these? Well, it's not on the shelf, we don't have it. My grandmother was to make them go to the back.
Yeah.
And if you can't find the bag, go get a manager, and I need to know when it's going to be here. And I never understood the value of that when I was younger, but it kind of makes more sense now, especially in the job world, because like all of this relates to how you turn out as an adult. So that is a part of the style of parenting, is like to be persistent. And some people, I don't know where you would categorize that, but just as an experience, in my later life, it took me a while to ask for what I was worth on the job.
Yes.
And I was having a conversation with somebody else, and that's normally what you said. Man, I was just having a conversation, but I was just having a conversation with somebody else about me coming to the realization that me being paid less than my white counterpart wasn't my white counterpart's fault.
No, right.
And I used to be upset, like even if they're clearly not as qualified, or maybe I'm overqualified for my role, but I didn't push for the senior position or what have you. They got what they got on their accord, whether they asked for it or not.
Yes.
I specifically wasn't asking for what I knew I was worth, and I was just accepting it. And now I'm frustrated with everything around me because I started getting information that my salary was laughable. And the thing was, I don't think that the people that were laughing at me like, you're dumb.
Right.
But it was just like, man, you could have got 30 more thousand.
Why they playing with you? Because
they know, and that's common information, and that's how they talk.
Yes.
On a regular basis.
Yes.
I notice with a lot of us, we don't, what you make, man, y'all stay out my pockets. And that's cool, but when you're trying to level set in terms of fairness in the corporate setting, like that information is valuable. And unless you get like a cool recruiter that has access to the information,
unicorn,
you just accepting, you not pressing, you not asking, like pushing things to the edge, will leave you living a very average life. And I don't know, I mean, I know where that came from, but it was like in gentle or PAP parenting,
right?
That's not something you would teach.
Well, it's not.
You just accept it,
right? And
as the parent or the child.
I'm gonna tell you where it came from: the universe, and because that ties exactly into what we're talking about right now. That is referred to as misplaced frustration, misplaced rage, misplaced anger. Watch this. You as a parent, remember I told you, gentle parent or not, or the opposite, whatever it is, have a boundary, set a standard, stick to it. It cannot move, it cannot adjust if you're trying to teach your child. So misplaced anger. You tell your child, if you finish this semester strong and you get these grades that I know you're capable of, whatever that is. Hey, if you're late to school one more time, I'm taking your video game. That's a hard boundary. That's a line. The next time they're late for school and you take that video game, their misplaced anger is going to be, it's the worst parent I ever had. You're mad. You're trying to ruin my life. That's their default. This is their world. That's all they have. So everything that's not in their favor, in their opinion, is ruining their lives, right? So now if you get rid of that, you're not so caught up on their reaction as you are of setting this tone, teaching this lesson. Now, accountability, you're teaching accountability. Don't get so caught up in you lost your video game. Focus on what you did that I told you do not do. Focus on what you could have done in your power to ensure that you receive this blessing, this reward, this gift. Son, you finished this semester strong, I'm gonna buy you a car. Bet. You get to the end of the semester and you're on academic probation or you got XYZ going on, and then you come and say to your parents, what's up with that car y'all talked about? Did you uphold your end of the bargain? What was the standard? So now, if you set that standard, your child falls below that standard, but in your mind, man, my son really needs this vehicle though. This gonna help me a lot if I just go and give him this vehicle. As much as it would help you, the message that you're about to send far, far outweighs the benefit of you breaking that hard line. If that was the case, you shouldn't have used that line, because I got to get you this car at the end of the semester anyway.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to use it as a motivational tool. It didn't work, but I still give you the reward anyway. If you don't get that participation trophy off this table, say something else. I'll pay your insurance for the first. I'm getting you a car because I need you to have a car. But if you finish strong, I'll pay your insurance. Whatever it is that they now can handle, but you're not going to do on their behalf. But don't say something like that, and then they fall short of the line, and you still reward them anyway. That's a punk A parent. There's nothing gentle parenting about that. You set a standard, you set a goal, you set an expectation of your child. They fell short of that goal, and you didn't reinforce, you didn't coach them, you didn't uplift them to say, hey, well, this is what you could have done differently. Let's figure out why you fell short. You didn't set any time stamps. Hey, you got a goal you're trying to obtain at the end of the semester. Don't just throw it out there and walk away, because now you set them up for failure. That's the same as you graduated high school. Go get that college degree, son. Call me and let me know how it worked out.
Yeah.
Follow along, set time stamps and check in. Same thing. I'm trying to help you meet this goal, son. Let's keep our eye on the prize. Are you slipping? Because now you have time to fix it. You see what I mean? So that's the same thing. Look how that carries into corporate.
Yeah.
I don't know to go and say, hey, these were the expectations and the standards. These are the rewards associated with those expectations and standards. It's within my right to make a call or a demand on what lines up with this level of meeting these goals and standards. It's the same thing. We get caught up and we're not paying attention to how much of our parenting is actually setting the stage for our children's lives.
Yeah. How much of do you think of that is tied to just how much of parenting style do you think is attributed to what the parent wants as a convenience for the parent? Because when you were saying that, I was like, yeah, but if he got a car, I ain't got to drop him off. Like all of these things.
Yes.
And that car reference is specific, but sometimes it's related to the level of communication we have with the child.
Mm-hmm.
Like out of convenience, I don't want to have this conversation right now.
Right.
Even if the basis for you making the decision, the determination of setting that standard is sound, you don't feel like you have to explain that to your child because it wasn't explained to you.
Right.
And sometimes that's where the miss is.
Mm-hmm.
I set the standard, I told you about it, but it wasn't in a way that you could actually comprehend at your level. It's the whole because I said so mentality. What do you think? What do you? Well, let's make it personal. Where in your life have you defaulted to convenience versus doing the necessary as a parent?
Too often, too frequent, more than half, I'd say. And to add to it, sauce on it, if you will, tradition, convenience and tradition. That's one, antiquated, and two, not in the best interest of the child. I could take this phone right now to teach a lesson, but man, now all of the things that's tied to me being able to just pick up the phone and call you or text you and say, do this, don't do this. So now, because of that convenience, I passed on enforcing that hard line. Man, if I do that, that's gonna screw me though.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, man, if I make him do this, I have to be there. If I tell him, hey man, you missed 2 more shots in this game, you got to go to the gym for 4 hours
Before
Monday
school.
through Friday.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So now guess what? I just put that commitment on me too, because I got to go. So now, out of the convenience of, I don't want to go, you're not going to get the lesson. You're not going to get the reinforcement. So too often, I'd say the majority of I blame it on, oh, I'm so busy, my schedule. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. So because of, out of the 24 hours in the day, I'm using 38. You see what I'm saying? So now, at what cost?
Yeah.
There that is again.
Yeah.
What should I shut down and stop and put my focus on this hard line? Because now my lineage is on the line.
Yeah.
My children, son, this what kind of man you gonna be. So if I gotta lose this deal, contract, or whatever I got going on, I gotta miss this opportunity or miss whatever this is. Not that everything is a business, even something fun or enjoyable.
Yeah.
That I have to miss for you to be a better human being. I have to make sure that that's worth it and prioritize that thing and miss it. But you're gonna get this hard line.
I think one thing to consider is that, and this is my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
well, consider it if you want to or not, but every time we have one of those instances where we mismanage a child, I think it compounds like interest. It's just not numerically stacking up. It's 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 64. I can't, I went 16, those 4 X, but I think it works like that because you can't just undo it.
Yeah.
Thinking that if you messed up twice, you only have to, make it right twice.
Right.
Like parents have a duty to actually show behavior changes too, like we want our kids to show.
Man.
So when we mismanage, just be mindful that you're not just mismanaging this situation and it's looked at independently. This is compounding any of the other issues, resolved or unresolved, that you have with that child.
That's good stuff.
What do you think are some of the benefits of gentle parenting, and if we put it in the proper context? And if there are any benefits of PAP?
Benefits of gentle parenting to me, it helps teach or instill, hopefully, a slow to anger approach.
Yep.
Of I've always heard, man, the old heads and uncles and people always, men, I thank God for the men that poured into me. They always used to say, if you show a person, all I have to do is do this or say this, and it's gonna send you into a rage, I've just given all control to you. You have total control over me. You could play me like a puppet. I know what makes you mad, angry, upset, what bothers you, what makes you sad. However I want you to feel, I'm going to tap into that, and I'm going to sit back and watch the show. So now, in my opinion, gentle parenting can help these children become more observant. Yes, something's wrong, but let me sit back and look at why it's wrong. Let me analyze it. How did we get here? What did I do 2 steps ago that made this person feel like it was okay for them to do this thing, even though it's wrong? How did we get here? How can we avoid this ever happening again? It's a thinking man's approach, if you really have to be honest, if you approach it right. PAP. Is there a benefit to PAP? Yes. Yes. And watch this. I think it can be a form of reward because there's a lot of parents that rob their children of the fantasies of childhood. And what I mean is the feel goods, stuff that and don't waste your time with that fairy tale, son. That's not real. That's not fair all the time because that this child has his whole life to be an adult. Sometimes let him have the magic because now we're creating a well-rounded human being. Happy, sad, mad, glad. It's important that they experience all of the emotions. And I learned this in my grown big age. My wife helped me with this, to be honest, of let them be children as long as they can be children. Not that it's a detriment. So sometimes your PAP, it may be I'd like for you to go to bed at 8:30 every night. Y'all on spring break. Stay up to 10:30. Sure, that 8:30 is a hard line, but that they feel like memories are created by you blurring that line. And I know that sounds like I'm contradicting what we said in the beginning of the episode. That's why parenting is not a manual. You get it? That's why I told you I dibble and I dabble. I got some PAP. I have some gentle parenting. I got some pop off. So now you have to be mindful of, when do you decide is the right time for you to dip into that bag? Like, don't be, you major pain, you all over the kids, and all they know is misery and anger and frustration.
Yeah.
They're going to hate you. And the minute they graduate, you'll never see that child again. I'm out. Never coming back here again. So I think there is, to answer your question, I know I'll be going around the barn, man, but there's a benefit, in my opinion, to PAP, as long as something long-term damage is not on the line, if that makes sense.
Properly managed. You
see a benefit in the both, or you feel like PAP need to be removed altogether?
Well, I mean, you kind of open my eyes with that. And when you're saying let them experience the magic, I went to Ain't No Santa Claus.
Yeah.
from jump.
Don't let your little kids watch this episode.
One, I'm hard fast on that one. I get what you're saying. When you start talking about blurring the lines,
right? That
part I get. And then it's you sprinkle some PAP in there. It's not like that's your only approach. So I don't know that if an only approach works. Just because we're human and we have emotions. I think gentle parenting best prepares them for life, because their first experience with how to deal with the human, an adult human, is in the home. Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully in the home, or whoever they have access to. So I can tell when I was a hiring manager or leading an organization, you could kind of pick out those personalities where you can tell you got away with everything.
Yeah.
You had no rules. You had no constraints. And honestly, so if we talk about PAP, sometimes in corporate, I needed a couple of those. I needed a couple of people that believe that what normally takes 40 hours could be done in 2. It won't necessarily happen, but you need some people to push that envelope to say why, because if nobody's challenging the norm stays the norm. And if you know anything about excelling in corporate, the norm can't be the norm year over year.
No.
That's not progress. That's not growth. That's not positive. So, and from that aspect, a little somebody with a little sprinkle of PAP in their background, where they were allowed to challenge, or they were just the why and not just accept everything that was given to them.
Right.
There is a place for that in corporate.
Yes.
On my team it was. Yes. Because that's how you push the envelope. That's how you get new solutions. That's how you get Elon Musk. I mean, you take that for whatever it is, but like those people that believe, even to the extent where they're reaching, I think that dude is trying to create humans. I don't know what he's gonna call them.
Right.
I'm not talking about the robots. I'm talking like
right.
But sometimes you need people in that vein. I'm not saying you need that specific person. So y'all argue with your insecurities in the comments.
Yeah.
But you need people that push the envelope a little bit. One thing that we've talked about PAP as a nice thing, but when you were talking about, I forgot exactly what you were saying, but it sparked the thought in me that there's negative PAP as well.
It is.
Like, your approach is negative. We've been talking about being soft and allowing kids to run over you and all of that. But another part of PAPing is, like, when you know how to irritate your child, when you know how to push their buttons, and you start using that as a means of
bullying. You're bullying your child is what you're doing.
Bullying your child.
Like, you sitting back waiting on, yeah. I know exactly how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
I'm going to set this trap. You setting traps. I'm going to set this trap. And when he fall into that trap, I got him.
Yeah.
What does that do for you, and why?
And I've been guilty where you talking about, if this happens, I'm taking your game. Now, I've moved to that, But in a couple of instances, my oldest son has come home and the power cord is gone.
Right.
And I knew it was going to send him. Now, in my mind, it was justified. It wasn't like let me do this to let him have a bad day.
Right.
Something had happened, but I hadn't necessarily laid the ground rules out smooth enough where it was clear that this equals that.
Yes.
I was letting this happen, and then you find out about that.
Yes.
Which is not cool at all. So papping isn't necessarily letting your kids run over you. Don't run over your kids.
Please.
Give them a chance.
Please.
Man, we didn't hit the ideal time. Any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts is just don't be so caught up in one way or another. Meaning, like we're talking about PAP, we're talking about gentle parenting. Make sure that whatever your approach is, you have a goal, a method, a theme, if you will. Like have an outcome that you're trying to achieve with your child. That way you know when you're off track or not.
So that last part you had I was going to say have a measure.
Yes.
To understand when something is working and not working, and don't have so much pride that you can't adjust and admit to your child that you were wrong.
That, man, especially that being able to admit, show your children you're human, and they'll reciprocate. It's all right to make a mistake. It's okay to be human. Make sure your children understand mistakes are natural, normal, and human.
Yeah. Hopefully they're making new mistakes because you've told them about yours.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap for this one, man. We got ways to support us in the comments, no matter how you're consuming this, if it's audio or video. Check the comments for ways to support us. If you're on YouTube, you probably see the join button now. So we do offer memberships that have some perks, and the perks are laid out in those memberships. So salute to the 2 members that have joined. You know what? We got time. We're going to shout them out.
While we're doing that, love Keisha J Studios. Support. Support the Dear Son Network.
Sherilyn Tootle and Harold Cottom. Let me take my glass off. Make sure, yep. Harold Cottom and Sherilyn Tootle, welcome to the membership.
Welcome.
We appreciate you. But yeah, if you want to, like I said, if you're on YouTube, you can click the join now, and it'll explain what each membership level offers. Of course, different tiers offer different things, but we're getting serious, not getting serious about the network, demonstrating the inner workings of the network. So you'll see how shows are developed. You'll see some conversations that are only for members. Might be some extended information, some extended conversations that aren't part of the public videos, and just some insight on what we're doing before the world knows, and a way to shape what we're doing. So we want input to make sure that we're going down the right path, because we can believe, I know I can believe that my idea is fantastic.
Yeah.
Until I realized that I done built the car with no wheels. So there's that.
I left the transmission out.
Exactly. With that, we appreciate you guys. God bless you. Peace.